Hello, Brixton, can you hear me? Brilliant. Well done for making it this far. I'm amazed you can still cope with any more new ideas. But I want to just ask all of you, just before I get started, to imagine one thing that you're really passionate about. And then I want you to imagine one thing that you really care really deeply about, maybe a big problem in the world that you'd love to solve, okay? And then at the end, we're just going to bring a few of those together, okay? So I'm going to ask for some volunteers. So my passion and my concern were brought together in Brixton in 1998 when I found myself working in film in the day and volunteering with old people, with homeless people in the prison, and thinking that it was strange that there was no link that I could think of between cinema and these people at the edges of society. And it seemed like somehow something started ticking in my mind that there was a link, an important link there. So 5 years later, in Soho, I set up a film club for homeless people, and it immediately snowballed into what me and my fellow volunteers thought was the most beautiful cinema in the world. It was 30 to 40 people with rucksacks coming off the streets once a week to watch the best films in the world, and soon after that to meet the best filmmakers in the world, because Soho was this place which combined homelessness and cinema. So we, since then, have turned into a social enterprise. We've launched 30 community cinemas in homelessness centres, in prisons, in care homes, in community centres, in low-income areas across the UK and Ireland. And we enable people who are suffering from the greatest challenges in life to participate once a week in an amazing cultural service. We empower them. We hand the means for cinema to them. It's essentially asking ourselves, what would our favourite cinema be like? And then asking them, what would your favourite cinema be like? So they program seasons of films. We bring in famous filmmakers. We bring in local employers, educators, and we empower them to make their own short films, which are made with the support of supervising filmmakers to a very high technical standard and then seen in film festivals. And we thereby give them media skills which they can use as they progress in their life, and we connect them with the things that they are passionate about. It is an engine for reconnecting people to the things that they're passionate about and empowering them to move on. We have brilliant progression partnerships. So we hand these people on to people like the Open University, who give them bursaried courses in the subjects that they've sparked or renewed interests in, at local employers with work experience, and housing charities who can get them into their own houses and give them onward support. One thing we noticed in the development of this project, whenever I was sitting at a bus stop and talking about open cinema, I'd ask the person next to me what they were interested in, as I have been doing a lot today. And whatever they said, I noticed that I could find a film that we could show at an open cinema, and that person who I was talking to could come in as an expert. So everybody has an expertise that they could present usefully on to somebody for whom that is what they need. So we found that cinema is a platform for connecting need with expertise. An example is Stuart, who was a rough sleeper, former soldier, regular at our film club in Soho, worked on his first film with us. We got to show it on Channel 4, and we got a phone call a month later from his brother, who hadn't seen him for, I think, 4 years, and saw him on the TV, and we were able to reconnect them. So that was a nice outcome. So I want to ask, before we get to the passion and the need question, how many cinemas you think there are in Brixton? Does anybody have an answer? 2, 1, 2. Well, there's certainly the Ritzy, beautiful cinema. But I would say that this is a cinema too. And you can imagine that there are many more spaces like this. And that's how we see it at Open Cinema. We see that any place that you can put up a screen, some speakers, and get together a community of interest is a cinema. And that is a place of change. Okay, so can we have a volunteer for somebody who has thought of a passion, somebody who's thought of a passion and a need? Anybody? It could be absolutely anything. Come on. One person. Yes, I knew it was going to be you. Joseph, go right ahead. Architecture. and educating villagers in developing countries. Brilliant. So immediately, very easy to come up with a social enterprise that empowers people in developing countries to build their own schools, say. I bet nobody's doing that. And you will often find, if you do this, you run this little exercise, and we'd love to come up with an algorithm. Maybe we should ask Google for some help or something. But if you run this little exercise, you will come up with something that is uniquely suited to your passions, your background, and your future, and which you are uniquely suited to. This is sometimes the case if you've suffered deeply on a given issue. And before moving to Brixton, I went through a period of like total meltdown in my life, and Brixton really helped me put some of that back together again. But one thing I noticed from that is, from having sort of seen my mind fall apart in a way, I was suddenly and very naturally very useful to other people whose minds were in disrepair. And that's very striking. We have one other volunteer, a passion and a need. Yes? Fabulous example. Okay, brilliant. So addiction and nutrition. Well, I mean, a nutrition charity for people suffering from addiction. I bet there isn't one. And it's so simple and so beautiful. And nutrition is such a wonderful answer to so many of our deepest problems. Let food be thy medicine, I think. I never worked out if it was Herodotus or Hippocrates, but that's a great one. One more example before we close. A need and a passion. One more. Brave soul. Yes, right at the back. Yes? Need love? Wow. Mr. Love Poet. Everybody needs you. On which note, thank you very much.